All right, today we're going beyond the desk to tackle a massive challenge. I mean, one that's facing pretty much all of us right now. How in the world do you build a truly connected team when you're not all in the same room anymore? Okay, so let's just jump right into it. We all love the flexibility that hybrid work has brought into our lives, right? I mean, it's been a game changer. But what if that single greatest benefit is also its biggest threat? Yeah, I know, it sounds completely backwards, but this is the central puzzle that teams and leaders are trying to solve literally every single day. And this right here, this is what researchers have started calling the hybrid disconnect. See, while we're all enjoying that freedom, that focus we get from working wherever, something else, something absolutely vital for any team to succeed, is quietly starting to fall apart. And that's our connection to each other. So, take a look at this. What you're seeing here is the huge gap between the dream of hybrid work and the day-to-day reality. On one side, you've got the promise, right? More flexibility, more productivity, better work-life balance, all the stuff we were excited about. But then, on the other side, that's the hidden reality that managers in a 2022 Lund University study started reporting. They're talking about weaker connections, a team culture that just feels like it's fading away, and way less of that, that spontaneous magic that happens when you just bump into a colleague. So, what's really at the heart of this problem? What's the one thing that all elite, high-performing teams have in common? The very thing that this new way of working is putting in danger? Well, let's just call it what it is. Your team's superpower. And that superpower? It has a name. It's called psychological safety. The pioneering researcher Amy Edmondson, she defines it as this shared belief that your team is a safe place for interpersonal risk-taking. Now, let's be super clear here. This is not about everyone being nice all the time. Not at all. It's about creating an environment where you feel safe enough to be honest, to ask what you think might be a dumb question, or even to admit you messed up without being terrified you're going to get slammed for it. And look, I want to stress this. This is not some fluffy, feel-good concept. Just look at why it matters. Psychological safety is literally the engine that unlocks honest feedback. It's what fuels bold innovation and speeds up learning and growth. In fact, Google spent 2 years studying hundreds of their own teams. And what did they find? They found that psychological safety was, by a long shot, the #1 predictor of their most elite, most successful teams. It is the absolute foundation. But, and this is the big but, here's the problem. That exact foundation, that bedrock of psychological safety we just talked about, it's starting to get these hidden cracks all over it, thanks to the new pressures of our hybrid world. I think this image just says it all, doesn't it? All those old, almost automatic ways we used to build connection and trust in the office, the casual chats, grabbing lunch together, just being able to read someone's body language, all of that is starting to crack. Those old habits simply don't translate one-to-one into this new hybrid reality. Okay, so let's break this down even further. Back in the office, trust was something that grew organically, right? It happened over those informal lunches or quick coffee runs. But now, in the hybrid world, well, managers in that study reported that pretty much every single interaction has to be put on the calendar. We've got these huge digital blind spots. I mean, you can't really read the room on a Zoom call, can you? And the result of all that? Trust becomes way harder to build, and that critical culture of quick, casual feedback, it just starts to wither away. Okay, so that's the challenge, and yeah, it is a big one. But here's the good news. That same Lund University study didn't just point out the problems, it also uncovered what's actually working. It turns out there is a new playbook for building real connection in a hybrid world. So what are the most successful managers doing? They're using this 4-part strategy. And the core idea here is that we have to be way more deliberate, way more intentional than we ever had to be before. The steps are, first, structure intentionality. Second, leverage digital tools. Third, invest in connection. And fourth, my personal favorite, schedule spontaneity. Okay, first up, structure intentionality. What does that mean? It's all about getting rid of the gray areas to create a level playing field for everybody. A huge insight from the study was this. Managers have to decide before a meeting happens if it's going to be fully in person or fully online. No more of those awkward hybrid meetings where the remote folks basically feel like they're just spying on a conversation happening in a conference room somewhere else. You create clear rules and you make sure everyone actually has a voice. Number 2 is to leverage digital tools, and this is a big but, with a purpose that goes way beyond just getting tasks done.
The study found successful managers using things like Miro for real-time collaboration or shared calendars to make things transparent for everyone, and using digital feedback tools to keep that communication flowing. The real key here is to use technology to bridge the human gap, not just the workflow gap.
All right, step 3, invest in connection. Think about it. So many of the social skills we just took for granted in an office, we now have to consciously reteach for a hybrid setting. This means actually running workshops on things like how do you give good, constructive feedback over a video call, or setting up activities that are designed specifically to build trust when you don't see your teammates every day. You just can't assume this stuff will happen by itself anymore. It won't.
And finally, we get to step 4, schedule spontaneity. Yeah, I know, it sounds totally ridiculous, right? A complete contradiction. But the best managers found it was absolutely critical to put informal, voluntary things on the calendar, like a virtual breakfast or coffee break. They'd even use breakout rooms after a serious meeting for nothing but casual chit-chat. These planned moments, they're basically the new water cooler. They create the space for those unplanned conversations that build real, lasting connections. There's this one quote from a manager in the study that I think just sums this all up perfectly. They said, if you can build a feedback culture, the vulnerability will arise with trust and good collaboration. It just becomes a longer process. And that's really the key, isn't it? It's not that it's impossible now. It just takes more time, more patience, and a heck of a lot more intention.
So this really leaves us all with one final, really important question to ask ourselves. As we're all out here designing the future of work for our own teams, are we just building a hybrid workspace that, works? Or are we intentionally building a truly connected team? Because the difference between those two, well, it's everything.
And by the way, the insights we've been talking about today came from a really fantastic 2022 paper called Psychological Safety in a Hybrid Work Environment by Rafael Bless and Pablo Santi Velasco from Lund University. Definitely check it out if you want to go deeper. Thanks so much for joining us for this one.